Game on.
Well, hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. It's October, and that means it's Halloween, which is scary time here on Glenn's Retro Show. I got a package here from Super Impulse with some Halloween treats. Let's take a look and see what we got in here. So, I'm not quite sure what's in here, but let's take a look. Okay, we have a few things here, definitely Halloween themed. We have a Chucky, but it looks like it's a Mr. Potato Head Chucky. So we'll take a look at this, see what this is over here. And we have some of their micro figures, it looks like. We've got a couple of them here, so let's see what we got here with these micro figures. We have a, looks like a Wolfman. I know it's really tiny, we'll get close up to these later. A Wolfman. We have a Hellboy. We have a, looks like Bride of Frankenstein. And the Mummy. Let's take a look at these next on Glenn's Retro Show.
You've been very naughty.
Okay, first I want to thank Super Impulse for sending this out for the purpose of review. And we have a couple different things here. Obviously we have Chucky here, which is a potato head or Mr. Potato Head style Chucky. But I can tell you the box already, or the container it's in, I like better because I can open this up and put them back in the container and keep them nice and safe in the packaging. I always hate these blister packs. You know, the only way to get these guys out is to rip up the packaging. But again, most people are going to play with them, I get it. But I always like displaying them. So we'll get started with little micro guys first. I'm going to have to take them out of the packaging. Move Chucky out of the way for a moment. Let's move him out of the way. And we'll take a look at these guys. So we have a few of them here. So we have, the packaging looks decent. I mean, that's why I want to keep these packages here, but unfortunately I'll have to open this thing up and I can't. But this right here is the Wolfman. We'll get more of a close-up of him later. But, Super Impulse is really good with their world's smallest line. And it looks pretty darn detailed, I'll say that. The packaging looks pretty good. And it looks like perhaps behind it looks like a door. So maybe this is something you can use like a scene for the characters. So we do have him. And of course we have the Mummy. No, not the Tom Cruise Mummy, which was horrible, but the original Mummy, or the Mummy. But they're very cool. Again, it's a micro figure from Super Impulse, the world's smallest. And again, it looks like a card here. Maybe it could be displayed in the back. It looks like a little door. But I guess we'll find out when we get in here. You can see they have other characters. They have, is that the Headless Horseman? That just looks kind of cool, the Headless Horseman right there. And they have the Fly, and of course, the Mummy. Right here. And after that, we do have the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, in today's woke culture, I don't know if she's okay being called that, but in any case, that's what I'm calling her. It is the Bride of Frankenstein. Again, they look pretty darn detailed. These things are small. Let's take a look at my fingers right here. You see how small these things are. But Super Impulse is really good at making things small, but very detailed. Again, we have the Wolfman here, and we have Frankenstein here as well. So Mrs. Frankenstein's going to have to hook up with the Wolfman perhaps later. And we have Hellboy here as well. Now he's not a classic, at least I don't think he's a classic, horror movie character. He's actually not a bad guy. He's a good guy for the most part. So again, he looks extremely detailed here. And again, his card looks like there's a door in there. I'm not quite sure. But again, the only thing I hate about these is the packaging. I got to, cut these out. The packaging, and I can't keep them in the packaging anymore, so that kind of sucks. But let me get these things out of the package. We take a quick look at them. Be right back. Okay, you can see I got a bunch of these out. I still have this one in the package, but I found a little trick. If you go to the back with an X-Acto knife and you cut right along the seams here, you can't really tell I've opened the packaging, but I did. And you can get the little guys out of here, so I can still save the packaging. I know I'm insane. I get it, people. It's kind of how I am, but now we can save the package and put this thing back up. How cool is that, Glenn? Okay, so they all come in their own little small little holders, which is kind of nice. It's not really it is a door on the back, but it's inside a little protective case, so you can display these guys a little bit nicer. But it's got the nice artwork here of each character. And we'll open up this little back door, but you can see on the back here, there's some information on it. Shows some other characters on here. But you can pop the door open, like so. And we got a little piece of plastic here. Let's pull this little guy out. A little cover. Let's pull out Mr. Hellboy. Now it looks like there's another piece in here. It's got a little gun. That's really tiny. I'm not sure if that's even going to come up too well. So he's got a little pistol right there. I'm going to put this back down over here for a moment. Try not to lose it. But the detail on this guy is actually pretty good. Get him a little closer to you guys right here so you can kind of see it. So Hellboy looks pretty good. Of course, it's just plastic, but it's about the detail that's on him. And it looks like his arms are opposable. So I can lift up his arm right here. And it looks like I can... God, it's so tiny. If I can get this gun in here. It's really hard to see for you guys. I am totally going to drop this gun. I'm going to totally drop it. There's a spot in there for the gun, but my hand's too big even to get the gun in there. But the arms are opposable. The head is turnable to a degree. But that's a little Hellboy right there. And again, I think there's a little stand for him here. Inside this little plastic bag, it looks like there is a stand for him. So we see if we get this out of here. Everything is tiny, but that's the whole point of Super Impulse. Is the world's smallest, and they're not kidding. So I think the stand has one little peg, and there's a hole in one of his feet. It's really not easy to see. I'm getting old. There. So we can take Hellboy, and I'm going to put Hellboy back here just for a second. And he does have a gun. Again, there is a little gun right here. It is super tiny. But I'm going to have a hard time getting him in, so I'm going to put him down over here. So that's Mr. Hellboy. And of course you got the packaging put back in here, because Glenn does those type of things. Close the door and you can put that behind him like so. The next thing we have is the Mummy. So again, the detail looks pretty good. Nice display case to put him in. Some more information on the back with the little door. Pop this door open. Oops, if I can. There we go. Again, we have a little foot stand. And what is that? It looks like a bat? I'm not quite sure what that is. There's some little thing in there. If you can even see that. I'm not quite sure if you can see that. I'm not sure what that is. We pull this thing out of here. Or try to. This one's fighting me, man. There we go. And we have the Mummy. Again, it's so hard to show these things on camera. But the detail is really good on them. And you can see here the arm is opposable. On both sides. I guess that's like a little bat. I'm not quite sure. Let me get out of the package here. And see. Again, we have a little foot pad. You need to be real careful, man. If you ain't paying attention, you're going to lose this stuff real quick. Whoop. So I guess it's supposed to be like a little bat, because there's a spot in his hand, I think, to hold it. Again, if I can get it in, and I know the camera angles are gonna be horrible for you guys to see it. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. I guess it's like a little bat. And again, he has a little stand. They have to get inside one of his feet. A little peg. I know, it's so hard to get this on film. Oh, yep, that goes. That's probably gone forever. It just fell out of his hand. Okay, but I got his little foot thing on. I'll put him down here. But where did that thing go? Well, I gotta tell you, if I had a rug, I never would have found that again. But I did find it. I'm gonna put it back in his hand as best I can. Yeah, I'm gonna put it down in front of him. See, some things are too tiny. Next thing we have here is the Wolfman, which I think is probably the most visually pleasing to look at. And we have the back right here, looks like woods, but they have a door. And the back they have Frankenstein and the Wolfman and the Bride of Frankenstein. So I'll pull this one out. This one comes out a lot easier. I'll put down the Wolfman here. Okay, we can see the detail on the Wolfman is really good. Super Impulse is very good at that. His arms are opposable. As you can see here, I can move them up and down. And his head does turn. Very little, but it does turn. But the detail on him is really good. And of course, he's got his little stand over here, if I get out this little bag right here, oops. So no other parts for him other than the stand. Let's get the stand out here. It's a little plastic stand. Goes in his foot, a little foot peg right here. Like so. Ah! Yeah, these things are very, I mean, once you set them up, they'll be fine, but they are tiny, but that's the whole point. World's smallest, no joke. Put a Wolfman down right there. And last but not least, we have the Bride of Frankenstein. Again, the case itself is a very solid case, a nice little display stand around it. It stands up by itself just fine. It's got the little door in the back for easy access. And this one right here, again, we have her little stand and the bag right here. And we can pull out the Bride of Frankenstein, which is always not, it's easier said than done. It gets caught on the door, I think. There we go. There we go. Now she has a stand as well, but she doesn't really need it. And her arms are, oh my god, they are. I didn't think they were. Her arms are posable. Look at that. Her head, I don't think, if it does, it turns very minimally. But again, very detailed. It's hard to show, obviously, on the camera. But really, really cool. And again, you can put them out like this, you can store them like this, or put them back in their cases. But in addition to these guys, we have a Mr. Potato Head Chucky that needs our attention. Let's have a look at that. Okay, next we have Chucky, the Collector's Edition, Mr. Spud. So it looks like he's got all these different parts inside here. And again, this case I like a lot bit more just because I can take it out and put it back in the case and keep it stored. Again, it's from Super Impulse. And it's kind of interesting that used a Mr. Potato Head, I suppose. But let's take a look. It looks like the bottom's already kind of open on this. I'm going to flip it open this way. Turn them upside down. And to open this thing up here as best I can. Looks like we can pull him out. Pull him out of the canister. There we go. Again, the case looks kind of nice. You know, I'm crazy about cases. But here's Chucky as a Spud. Look at that. Okay, let's open him up here. Oh, he comes apart. Okay, so here's our Spud Chucky. His legs are not opposable. They're going to be always in a seated position, but his arms are opposable here. And it looks like there's extra maybe parts inside of him because he does come apart. So if you pull his hair off, you can pull his hair off like so, and take his legs off, it turns into more and more of a potato. And then we can pull his eyes out, and his mouth, and his ears. So he does come apart, just like a Mr. Potato Head. It does come completely apart. And it looks like there's a door here. I'm not sure if that's to store parts or if they got more parts in there. There are more parts in here. Here we go. Not a lot. It looks like just maybe his nose. I think that's what that is, his nose. There's nothing else inside here. So that's all he comes with. So let's put him back together. So we'll start with putting his hands on there like that. We'll put his legs on like that. And we'll put his eyes back in. And we do have his mouth, which would be here. Like so. And of course his hair. Like that. Then we have his ears. Probably easier putting his ears in first. So I guess if you're a crazy Mr. Potato Head kind of guy, you could have a psychotic Potato Chucky. Just like that. And it looks like there's just a nose. I mean, this is kind of what it looks like. But he's got a nose on there already, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe a button? I don't know. I'm not quite sure what that's for, to be honest. It says 14 interchangeable parts, including, he's got the mouth. I guess that's supposed to be another mouth, maybe? I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can pull his mouth out. I guess, maybe, I suppose. Maybe he's chewing on someone's heart? I don't know. Pink. That's the only extra part that's in there. I think you're pretty much going to keep him the way he is here. Just like that. So, that's really it. So we got the Mr. Potato Head, Chucky, and of course we have our little Hellboy, our mummy. Whoop, who fell over? Fell over again. Come on, mummy. There we go. I think out of all of them, the Wolfman, I think, is probably the most well done. Who keeps falling off his stand? My goodness. Bink. And of course, the Bride of Frankenstein. So if you want to get your kids something cool for Halloween, these are very inexpensive. I'm not so much sure about the Potato Head one, to be honest. Doesn't look too much like Chucky. I guess maybe he does. I don't know. I think these smaller ones, the little micro ones here, are better. But the only problem with these is they do come with small parts, and they'll be very easy to lose. So it's kind of a toss-up. To get this for little kids to play with, they probably lose all the parts, or give it to adults with big hands who can't do anything with them. It's hard to say, but that's it for this episode. I do want to thank Super Impulse for sending these little guys out. They are neat. These guys will probably look really good with their little tiny arcades. I wish they made more of the tiny arcades. But, well, these are cool. And it's Halloween time, so I have to show them off. But that's it. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. It takes a second for you, but really helps out my channel and the algorithm. That's it for today's episode. But again, these are fun. These are cool. These are, well, actually, horrifyingly murderous. But outside of these things, what's most important is your family and friends. You need to protect them from Chucky and the knife, and you're the monsters. So remember, you always tell them you love them, because one never knows when Chucky or his friends will come out to play on Halloween to take you away. But at other times, have some fun with Super Impulse, and game on. Game on. Sit, Blue, sit. Good dog.